Welcome to Living with Grace Ann here. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the new subscribers and welcome to the old ones. Enough love. Love you. Just wanted to chit chat about having children that blame you for things and how to deal with it. And in conjunction with that, us once being children and somewhat blaming our parents. I want to talk a little bit about that. If you want to join the conversation with me, continue watching, continue listening, comment below, freely comment if this relates to you. It's just some stuff that we tend to talk about or even dismiss because we justify our actions as parents because of the decisions we made. Also, our children, they justify their actions because of the decisions we made in their lives. It's two different things, but I definitely want to talk about it. And if it's your choice of topic, continue watching. Otherwise, check out some of my other videos. There's a lot of topics coming and a lot of topics that we have discussed thus far. Okay. So let's jump into the topic. Oh, espresso. Okay. I had like 4 mugs and I found that one was cracked. I was like, is that lip gloss or is it cracked? This one's not cracked, but I love these mugs. I love the color of these mugs. Okay, let's start off the conversation. Let's start off the topic. We were children one time. And it's good to be childlike growing up, just period. It's good to be childlike and to enjoy your life. But the ideas and the thought process that we went through as a child is different as we grow up, justified. As children, we can blame our parents for certain things that they've done. Our life could have been better. They could have stayed together, or they could have put us in this school, or they could have, not done that. That might have affected us growing up. But I found for myself is that they did what they did for a reason. And for me to hate them, blame them, stagnates my growth and my level of experience and maturity for myself as a young adult. I did hold anguish and anger and frustration for some elders in my family. But I'm like, I can't get mad at them anymore because it happened for a reason. They must have thought it was right in their own belief, in their own way, why they made certain decisions. And certain things that had happened to me in my past hurt me so much that it created a life's path that made sense to me. And as I healed and matured in that, I understand. And in understanding that, I no longer blame. I'm no longer angry towards them. It happened, but I understand why. That's my journey, right? So as I was a child, now I'm an adult, growing and learning, still learning. My mindset and my belief and my understanding and the things that I do is completely different. And I understand this is my journey. So I create what I need in my life for my peace, for my sanity, for my growth, right? But I don't hate because I know if we hate people and we're upset, being upset is the disappointment or whatever, that can be managed and understood and talked about. Hating someone is like boundaries are up, brick wall, iron wall, F you, stay away, right? I think as individuals, it's okay to stay away from someone, but we need to find out why for our own self, for our own sanity. Because when we're upset, we're bringing them into our lives. When we understand what they did to us, why we're upset, justified. But it's like the energy you have towards thinking about them is taking away the energy in your life that you can apply somewhere else in terms of benefiting your life or enjoying your life, right? In terms of healing and speaking to someone to get healed in that area, that will be brought to light in terms of talking about something that you may not want to talk about. That's another video. But it helps with the process of healing, focusing on your life and making better choices and not hating the person that did what they did because obviously something was going on in their life why they did what they did. Grace. You got to give them grace. That's why I love this channel. Grace is given when we don't understand, but if God has grace for us, we should have grace for others. Now, we have children, right? Us as adults, we have children. We have some children that tend to blame us for the decisions made based off of our immaturity and holding ourselves accountable. We can say we were immature because trust me, the way that I used to think then is not the way that I think now. And the way that I think now, instead of me beating up myself and condemning myself, I'm like, okay, what better choices can I make to better my children's path? How can I do these things better for them now? They're young adults. And even if they're upset with me, I give them space. I'm like, okay, but I still love on them. I don't just stay away because I'm like, forget about them. No, These are my children. If they're hurt, they need to be healed. If it's not me to heal them, it's me to love on them, to understand that they can get that necessary help if it has scarred them to that extent, right? But we need to have that conversation with them. So now, since I'm at a mature place in my life in terms of my mindset and the way that I live my life and the way that I love others and speak to others, I will say, I'm not sure if you have with your young adult, that you need to be straight with them. For me, I will be straight. I'll say to them, I was young at that time. I made certain decisions and I hurt you and I'm sorry. You know, I made certain choices. I am so sorry. I was blinded. I was lonely. I did certain things in my life that affected you. I am sorry. Right? I think that us being mature right now, those that are watching, you have children, you've done it. Please, this is just a video, just a reminder or a gentle reminder or even awareness that our decisions affect our children, whether we like it or not. But holding ourselves accountable makes it easier to say to them, I am sorry. We're still learning as they are learning. We are learning, and as we are learning, they're watching us. So holding ourselves accountable and being a person to want better for ourselves, they watch and see how we are getting better for ourselves. Not necessarily for them, but for ourselves. And they see that and they implement it and they apply it in their lives because they're watching, right? But turning to them and saying, I am sorry that I hurt you. I'm sorry. And even if you want to give them a brief synopsis of what you were going through during that time, it's better that you do that, because then they won't blame themselves. Us as young adults, period, having children have made, we don't look at it as mistakes because we're like, oh, I had to do it. You know what? I did have to do certain things, but in explaining to my children, they no longer blame themselves, because whatever thoughts are running through their mind, which we don't know, by us as parents explaining to them, clears that up for them. It really does. Even if a parent left and they blame you, you don't necessarily need to give details of the relationship you have with them. Speak about eyes, what you did, what you believe in, what you were thinking, why you did what you did. You love them. That's the past. I'm sorry that it hurt you. It does a world of difference for them. Honestly, it really does. So I just wanted to bring it up, talk about it a little bit, because it's worth talking about. Oh my gosh. Liquids. Oh my gosh, liquids. I would also say this. For myself, I've always wanted, it kept me bound in a sense, it kept me confused, but I've always wanted a household that was portrayed to me, that was visually modeled for me with TV shows and even my neighbors and stuff. Because I did live in a nice area on the Danforth in a house with my grandparents that provided so much love for us. And we had a routine. Saturday we go shopping. It was beautiful. As much as they were older, they did find the time for us, even though they couldn't come to the track meets, they couldn't do this and that. I think the love alone that they've given us helped us to strive to be the best we could, even when we set foot outside of the house. And when I'd watch other families, I had a sense of jealousy a little bit, because at that time I believed my grandparents were my parents. So I was like, okay, but they're doing the best they can. Both of them are working. Both of them are cooking dinner for us. Both of them are buying clothes for us. Both of them are bringing us out. Both of them are loving on us. But we have a babysitter. Everything was functioning nicely. But I'd watch other couples in terms of my friends' parents and the way they would communicate and how they were able to go on trips and stuff like that. And I would compare and watching TV and stuff. So I had an image of how family should be. And so for me, the lack of security in myself, a lot of things took place and things were exposed, and the path went a little bit different. So me looking for love in all the wrong places, but it turned into a blessing. So that's another video. That I had a child at the age of 19, prematurely. I was in an abusive relationship. I went to active labor when I was 6.5 months pregnant. My son was 2 pounds and 13.5 ounces. I went through a lot of stuff. So my dynamic or visuals of a family was not implemented in my life. It wasn't played out in my life. I had a child early, abusive relationship. The next relationship I was in, abusive as well, whether it's verbal or physical. And so that yearning of a family life with the white picket fence, 2 parents, and Saturdays and Sundays, just outings. I yearned for that, desired that, never had that. And so in my mature, I always say mature state, the reason why I say that is because when you're mature and you understand that life has happened for you, but when you look at it in a good way of what you've learned and what you've attained and how you apply it and how experienced you are, you look at it as a good thing. God knows the parents that he's giving you. God knows who he's going to give you, whether it's foster parents, whether it's adoptive parents, whether it's grandparents. He knows where he's placed you and how he's going to create you, like mold you into the character that you should have in order to continue on with life. I could have fought God or fought the situation or been upset with my situation growing up and to this thus far today. But I was just like, God revealed to me that as much as family is like that, and what you've gone through in your life, you are still loved. What you have experienced in your life, you are still loved. How you learned it late, early, whatever in life was at the right time, you are beautiful in my sight. And so in that, all of these things happen for a reason, and I knew it, Anne. So don't discredit it. Don't discredit it. The more that I have peace in my heart, knowing that God has been with me from the beginning to this part now until he comes for me, it brings so much peace to understand that my life went the way it was supposed to. Good or bad. I don't look at anything bad anymore because I understand what was happening, the battle. I understand what was going on. I understand generational curses and blessings. I understand all of that. I'm not upset that I did not get the white picket fence and a married life with my husband and my children, raising my kids and them going to school and having a house and all that stuff. I am not regretting that, and I'm not jealous of it, and nor do I go back in time and say, what if, shoulda, coulda, and all that stuff. There are times where it comes into my mind because I look at my children's lives and wish that certain things played out because I want the best for them, because the best is what was shown to me in terms of two parents and all the stuff. It's ideal, right? But my life was not like that, and I have no regrets. And I'm glad that God has shown me that he loves me even through it, and he's going to turn it into a blessing, and he's going to continue to promote me and to use me. That solidified it for me. That really won me over in a sense of believing that God's got me, that I'm not going to go backwards and cry and condemn myself and punish myself and what if and shoulda and compare myself and be in a dark place, bound. So I'm free from that. So I just want to bring light to that aspect of what was presented to us in terms of a perfect life. It is ideal. It is. And it's never too late for me either. I can meet someone that will love my children and take them on as their sons and raise them and even find mentors for them and all that stuff. And even if my partner doesn't come, my children can still have mentors. They can still have a good life. And the reason why I'm also bringing this up is because that we want better for our children. And as much as their fathers are absent, and as much as society would say this and this and this and that and this and that, God is their father. God is our father. God is our supplier, regardless if we have a husband or not. God is always there for us. And he gives us enough strength to do what we need to do for our children, which are his children, the gifts that he has given us. So if we look at it that way, it makes it easier and more effective for us to be used by God to love on them and to raise them correctly, the way that God did for us. So I have no regrets being raised by my grandparents. I have no regrets having a mother that had me at a young age. I have no regrets. I also know that in my mature, and I keep on saying it for a reason. I know who I need around me and who I do not. And even with our family, loving them, you can love them from a distance. The conversations, them not understanding you, them choosing to be in their state, we can definitely pray for them, but hating them and dismissing them, it doesn't cure anything, nor does it even please God. You know what I'm saying? So going forward, our children, because we have our past, and breaking generational curses is part of that, because when God tells us certain things about us, we must believe it. We are lineage from God, not necessarily our biological family. We are lineage from God through Jesus Christ, and we are new creatures. So I believe that. I love it. It's freeing, and I'll walk in it. And so in that, I will not raise my children the way that I was raised, in the sense of what my biological mother did to me. I did when I wasn't saved, and I did when I had my first son, and it affected our relationship. I can put it out there and say this, no shame and no ill will intended. This is my experience speaking from my mouth, that I'm set free from it, I'm healed from it, and I can talk about it freely. So nobody has anything up on me. Their version may be different from mine, but I understand how I receive things and how I saw things to speak about a thing. in my life, right? So if someone wants to object, they're objecting because they see it differently. I'm speaking based off of my life and my experience, why I have this channel, why I have this platform, why I am being transparent, why I'm sharing this with you. So my job is to work in that relationship with my son. I cannot tell him what to do. I cannot tell him how to feel. All I can do is love on him. It makes it easier knowing that God loved me through my decisions. Do you know what I'm saying? And he's teaching me, God is teaching me how to love other people regardless of their decisions as well too. And a big note, the person that has taken my innocence sexually in my past, God has shown me how to forgive him, to love him. He's not around or anything like that, but in forgiving him, that's part of loving him, because when I forgave him, as much as I fought it, God revealed to me that he is his son too, and he is going through some stuff too. Why it was poured on me at an innocent age. I was like, wow. God shows us how to love people unconditionally, and we don't practice that enough. We really don't. We should. We should. And quit the division. So as a parent, it's really important for us to be truthful with our children and break generational curses and even ideologies of things that were implanted in us because of what was fed to us through our family. No ill will, nothing negative, but thinking of ourselves the way that God tells us that we are, living that life and speaking it into our children. It's so important. I try. There's times I argue. There's times I get into the flesh. There's times that I would just be like, what did you say? Because I feel like I have to battle them on that level because, they're young men now. So mommy can't talk to me like that. I'm learning how to talk more with love and patience and calmness. Because I trust me, I used to think that I had to be the mother and father. So I was very aggressive. Being in abusive relationships in the past, I felt like I had to be aggressive. But the more that I know how God would want me to be as a woman, I'm more calm, more soothing, more patient. I find that I am. And I'd rather just work with God so that allow him to work in me and work with God so that others, which my children and loved ones, can see that it's God, it's not me at all. I could not do it on my own because I definitely need his help. Thank you, Jesus, for leading the way. Even in relationships with the opposite sex, like courting, they need to understand that you're walking with the Lord as well. No one is perfect. But for me, if I'm going to be in a heated argument all the time, and I have to raise my voice all the time, and I have to explain myself all the time, I'm like, clearly God's not in this, or I'm forcing something to happen before it's time, or it's just not meant to be, or if it is, this might not be the time, because I really don't. And I know people think and say that in relationships, it's okay to have arguments, it's okay to raise your voice. But if it's repetitive and common, and the person saying that is only me that's causing it, I know I'm a work in progress, but saying but is contradicting what I just said. I am a work in progress. I believe that if I'm having a conversation with someone, no one should be talking on top of each other. And I'm guilty of that, but I'm learning now not to do it. But the conversation is not edifying. There's no growth. There's no understanding. There's no consensus. And it's always one person that's wrong. And I found myself repeating myself over and over and over. And I'm like, if I'm not being understood, why am I continuously having this conversation? Why am I raising my voice to even get a headache? There's no growth. There's no seed being planted. And if we can't see eye to eye here, how are we supposed to help other people out there? That was a bridge. I think that was a bridge. Anyways, I'm coming out of the bridge. I just want to say thank you so much. Comment below if you can relate, because it does help. We heal based off of our lives. Our children heal based off of our decisions and choices and the love that we have for them, but the love that we first receive, and that's from God. You notice that? I had the coffee first, then the water, hot and cold. Why? But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Comment below and I'll see you in the next video. Okay?